Hey, it's Huck. And yeah, I look like hell. And I have not been posting anything as regularly as I had promised. So I feel really bad about that, which is why I really wanted to get something up today. A lot to talk about. But let me start with my day. I ventured out of the house and did a little bit of, very little bit of shopping at a Family Dollar store today, which is the first time I've attempted to do that probably in about 7 weeks that I've actually went into a store. I was in there for about 10 minutes. I tried to be as careful as I possibly could be. But, I kept ordering things, through Aldi's and haven't had any success getting anything out of Giant Eagle lately. So, but there were just a few things that I was really desperate to get that I couldn't get from Aldi's. So I finally took the plunge today. I did wear a mask. I wore gloves. I tried to pick a time when there were very few people there, like there were only 2 cars in the parking lot. But I'll tell you, I was only in there for about 10 minutes, but in the few minutes that I was in there, about 8 or 10 people were in there in no time, and only 2 of them were wearing masks. Even the girl at the register wasn't wearing a mask, which was, I thought, shameful, frankly. But they did, like I guess like most of stores now, they have installed a plexiglass shield there at the counter at the register. So there was that. At any rate, I got out of there and I immediately went to my car and used my hand sanitizer thoroughly, and then I got home and washed up, real thoroughly. I'm attempting to make something right now that I've never made before. I remember my mom making it from time to time. I actually wasn't very fond of it years ago, growing up. But my dad was Slovak. I don't know if he was Czechoslovakian or, his descendants were. His mom spoke pretty much fluent Slovak, and so there are only like 2 generations or so, in this country or whatever. But anyway, so they made a lot of, I don't know if it's like Polish food or Hungarian food or whatever that Eastern European food. But so for instance, I grew up with, my mom was a great cook. And she learned, through my grandmother, through her mother-in-law, and all her sisters-in-law, how to make a lot of these kind of Eastern European foods, like haluski is what I'm making right now, and I will show you. This is what it's looking like so far. I haven't added the noodles yet. I don't know if you can see that. At any rate, I'm just about ready to add the noodles to that. Pierogies and kolache and all of these kind of things. I remember making some of these things with my mom as a kid. But this is my first attempt on my own here to make haluski. And I don't know why. I just had a hankering for it today. Boy, I have... I'll tell you, don't venture online these days if you don't have a strong stomach for conspiracy theory hoaxes. Unbelievable. And some of these people that are spewing this nonsense are actually relatives of mine. I've got a couple of cousins that are I don't know, just spending way too much time on YouTube, I'm afraid. If that's where you're getting your news and information, I suggest strongly that you may want to try some more verifiable sources to corroborate what you're learning there. At any rate, it's shameful. Some of the stuff that I've been seeing going on, and some of it is in the news and some of it's not. But there's a very small fringe group of people that are believing all kinds of wild, harebrained schemes of, this virus was planned years ago. And, many of the people that are spewing this nonsense out are, not always real specific. Well, who planned this? Who are you accusing? China, Obama, but there's a whole cottage industry right now. And Dr. Buttar, who's got a bunch of videos online through a network called Next News, I think is, at any rate, Dr. Buttar, if you know what I'm speaking of, he was brought up on charges by the North Carolina Board of Health for essentially fraud and exploiting the care of cancer patients, among other things. He's also hawking, supposed aging and autism cures on a website somewhere. At any rate, I mean, if this is the kind of place where people are getting their information, you would think they would have better sense, but no, they don't, any more than these folks that are going out protesting, these stay-at-home orders. And at any rate, some of it is well-financed and very organized. But we have to keep in mind that these are a very small minority, fringe people, and these are the same people that it's the same people that were saying that Obamacare was going to kill grandma, that are now saying that we should sacrifice grandma for the economy. So at any rate, all of this is quite troubling, as if we don't have enough to worry about with the lack of sensible leadership in this country. At any rate, I have got to put you down for 1 second because something needs to be done right at the moment. Give me 1 moment while I drain my noodles. There we go. I'm going to get myself some sugar in my coffee. This coffee is a few hours old. I usually try to make a new pot by this time. How you doing there? Okay, well, as you can tell, I'm feeling pretty good, though, And I don't know. I still get winded really quite easily, but I am trying very hard to stay off the oxygen and strengthen my lungs a little bit if I can. But I monitor myself pretty closely. And, if it doesn't get back up to where it should be, within, a minute or two, I put it on for a few minutes. But I have been feeling, relatively better than I have in a while, and I can't help but believe that at least part of it is because I have not exposed myself to all of the allergens and whatever else is out there that seem to affect me so often. The fact that the air is probably a little cleaner than it's been in a while is probably a factor as well. I notice that I get really, really winded, though, whenever it is cooler and colder and rainy, as it's been quite a bit around here. But today, again, is a very sunny day. So while I was a little short of breath quite a bit, yesterday and, for a few days in a row there earlier this week, when, it was overcast and cold, today it is, mostly sunny, about 60 degrees or so, and it's just a beautiful day. And I'm feeling, the difference amazingly much better. So there's that. At any rate, despite the fact that I did go to the store today, and like I said, that's probably the first time I've actually went inside another building. Last week, I think it was early last week, I was running out of milk. I was running out of bread and buns, hamburger buns. And I stopped down. There's a little gas station here. They're actually owned by the Shop and Save, by the same family that owns the Shop and Save grocery store right down here. And so it's the Shop and Save Fuel Mart, if you will. And they have this little dinky building where you can go in and pick up, milk or bread or, a few snacks or things like that. But, if you went in there and walked all the way around the counter and back out, it would take you probably less than a minute. So I was in there for probably less than a minute to buy the 2 items that I did about a week ago. And other than that, it's been about probably at least 7 weeks since I have, like I said, been in any kind of anything that even resembles a retail establishment. So today was a big, like I say, I've been trying to avoid that, and I plan to continue to avoid that. So I hope I didn't take too big of a risk. But I realize that most people, almost every family has to have at least one person that does this kind of shopping on a regular basis. And so I'm hoping that, that the one time that I had to do that is not going to backfire on me. I hope all of you are being prudent and safe, and I really wanted to post this so I get an opportunity maybe to hear from some of you, to help assure me that you're doing okay. And, I know that as time goes on, and as we all struggle to deal with this, the reality is this virus is not going to go away anytime soon. And for people like me and other people that have health conditions or are, a little older, frankly, it's not going to be safe at any time. Probably for another good more than a year until they hopefully come up with a vaccine or some type of a prophylactic treatment of some sort that can prevent, the virus from, doing any serious attack on our organs. And the more they're finding out about this virus, by the way, the more troubling it has become. There's been word out of the United Nations, World Health Organization as well, that perhaps this immunity, the antibodies that's presumably you get once you've been infected with the virus, may not transpire as they do in many other viruses, or they may be very short-lived. In other words, the idea that you may have some sort of immunity from this thing simply because you've been exposed to it once may not be true. And if that's the case, I know there has been some speculation that perhaps it could be a real hurdle coming up with a vaccine. There has never been a vaccine for a corona type virus before, and there's a few reasons for that. However, we've never made there's never been a worldwide spread of a corona type virus like this that was as dangerous as this one, and so there's never been as much effort put forth to try to find a treatment or a or a vaccine. At any rate, I guess what I'm trying to suggest is that at best we're probably looking at more than a year, more like maybe a year and a half before any such vaccine is likely to come about and be available. And until that time, for most people, at least for anyone in my situation, the idea of shopping without a mask or attending any kind of a thing where you're going to have any close association with close proximity to anyone is just not feasible. There's no way I could contemplate going to a ball game, going to a theater, sitting down in a crowded restaurant, getting in line to do anything. I mean, for folks like me, I believe, and perhaps for everybody, the social distancing, 6 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, whatever, may need to continue until, like I say, until there's either a bona fide surefire treatment or a vaccine. And that could take quite a long time. I frankly question the wisdom of starting the economy back up as quickly and without testing as so many of these Republican governors and officials seem to, feel that we need to do. And frankly, I don't see it, and I don't see, I don't see this problem getting any better real soon. I don't know that we're effectively going to see this thing, completely get at the bottom end of the curve, like I think people had hoped, here early this summer. We'll have to see. Anyway, quite a lot of doom and gloom there to ingest. So, one of the things that really troubles me too is, the fact that we're still dealing with the world's worst leader right now at the head of our federal government. Trump is just not just embarrassed this nation, but has really catapulted us into a full-blown catastrophe here, much of which I'm convinced could have been preventable. And the fact that we're not even talking about removing this man from office, and going ahead with the charade that this guy is just like any other, bad president that needs to be removed, through a vote of the people, is just an indication of how I can't even find the words to describe the Republican Party today. At any rate, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm sorry to be so doom and gloom today. I'm actually feeling quite good, though. So, it's like I say, whenever I stop to think about what's going on and some of the people that are kind of responsible for the fact that things aren't getting better a whole lot sooner, and allowing some of the nonsense that's going on to, continue to transpire, even to a great extent encourage it, it just really boggles the mind. Anyway, I hope you are well. After all, that is the important thing. Stay safe. I'll talk to you again real soon.